crazed American inspired by terrorists. The FBI thwarts an ISIS-inspired plot to bomb the New York State Capitol and kill lawmakers. 35-year-old Albany, New York resident Jessica Bowie is accused of pledging allegiance to ISIS, then scouting the Capitol and preparing a bomb before agents moved in. Good morning, and thank you for spending part of your day with us here on National Report. I'm Edie Hill.
And I'm Krysta Lorenz, and the FBI says agents, they reviewed the social media posts Bowie shared featuring anti-American messages.
The allegations in this complaint are deeply disturbing. That someone would harbor such hatred toward our way of life and seek to target the New York State Capitol and New York State senators. That's an attack on democracy itself, and one we will not tolerate.
Correspondent Sarah Williamson is live in New York City to tell us more about this plot. So, Sarah, what do we know at this hour?
Well, Jessica Bowie is now facing federal terrorism charges after authorities say really outlined this months-long path that she took from online radicalization to an alleged plan for mass violence in Albany. So Bowie allegedly told a confidential FBI source that she supported ISIS and wanted help from this person learning how to make explosives. Now, federal prosecutors say that she later surveilled the state capitol, took photographs and focused in on attacking when lawmakers would be inside. Bowie also allegedly bought bomb-making materials, including nails that she could use as shrapnel, and discussed hiding an explosive inside of a food delivery bag.
Miss Bowie didn't just want to kill lawmakers. She wanted a complete disruption of our government. And after that, she planned to flee the country and one day come back to, quote, do more, such as New Year's Eve in Times Square, even stating she would come back to attack the White House and the president, but only after she bombed the state capitol.
Now, the same undercover FBI sources remained in contact with Bowie throughout the entire investigation and ultimately provided her with what she believed was a working explosive device, along with a firearm and ammunition, before they took her into custody. But the device was inert. Now, court papers also describe a trail of extremist statements online. Bowie allegedly expressed support for the September 11 attacks, posted pro-ISIS material, and discussed fleeing to ISIS-controlled territory in Syria after the Capitol attack. Governor Kathy Hochul says security has been increased at the Capitol and other state government facilities, while stressing that there is no immediate threat. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani says there is no place for terrorism or political violence in our city, our state, or anywhere in our country. I am relieved that Governor Hochul, state lawmakers and Capitol staff are safe. So Bowie is charged with attempting to provide material support to a designated foreign terror organization, and she remains in custody pending these charges. Back to you, ladies.
All right. Thanks, Sarah. Let's welcome in our panel of experts. Chris Hinkle is a retired FBI supervisory special agent. Tim Miller is a former Secret Service agent, and appreciate you both being with us. So, Tim, let me ask you about this. How do they find out about these messages on social media? Is there a division or a group of people that are just constantly scrolling through all those things to try to find that, or how do they even catch on to it?
Yeah, that's a great question, and kudos to the FBI. This is a great catch, guys, because they were able to stop it before it happens. And to your point, there's a variety, Chris can talk to this as well, there's a variety of methods we now use to kind of screen anything out there. Fortunately, in this case, they did what they do very well. They got her into the flow of working with informants and certainly stopped the attack. But guys, what concerns me more than anything, one of the statements she made to an informant was, hey, I went from being a little girl waving an American flag after 9/11 to having stickers of the fallen towers on my computer.
Oh, my gosh.
That's what really should concern all of us. Insider threats are very dangerous, and thank God the FBI, good job.
Yeah, Tim, that one was particularly striking to me as well. It just is very confusing, especially since things have changed so dramatically, Chris, in terms of the way in which Americans are being indoctrinated, radicalized here. But the criminal complaint against Jessica Bowie contains some truly alarming text exchanges between her and some FBI undercover agents while Bowie was under surveillance. Here is one such exchange. Bowie says, quote, "We definitely want to make sure the senators get killed for sure," end quote. And the agent agrees. Bowie then says, quote, "That's the most important part. Destroying the building too, that's ideal, but getting to the senators," end quote. And the agent then says she will need something. And then Bowie says again, quote, "Substantial. Yeah, I want something that's going to do the job. I don't want to take this kind of risk and then have to kill it, 2 or 3 people. What good is that?" So, Chris, this was clearly supposed to be something much bigger as well. In terms of the radicalization process, though, how does this happen?
It happens from a lot of things. We've seen what had happened over the past few years under the previous administration at our colleges and universities with the censorship of conservative values on social media during that time and the promotion of values that are antithetical to those beliefs. I agree with Tim. Kudos to the FBI. I spent some time as an undercover coordinator, and it is a very sensitive technique. It is something that is very valuable to the FBI and to protecting the citizens of the United States. Kudos to the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force for finding out about this information. It can come in many ways. It could be through a concerned citizen saying, "Hey, I'm seeing something unusual here," or it could just be coming across that online. But once we introduce the FBI undercover operation, then it becomes what can we control? How far do we go with this? At what point do we pull the trigger on this, on taking this person off the streets? And expect the attorneys to argue entrapment, claiming that the FBI undercover operation induced her. In reality, the complaint shows that she already pledged allegiance to ISIS and conducted her own surveillance, expressed clear an intent to attack before any undercover contact, classic predisposition that courts routinely reject in these cases.
Tim, I'm just looking at the video of her. Do you know, had she changed her religion? Had she somehow decided that she was going to identify as Muslim? I can't tell if she's just wearing some really strange outfit that's all black and covering her whole body. Or if this is something where she had kind of gone down the religious route of this and then was taking that direction. Do you know?
Yeah, absolutely. She pledged allegiance to Allah. And it's very clear. Look, when you step into ISIS, it's a radical ideology of the Muslim faith that is by far the most violent, wicked aspect of being a Muslim. And to your point, at the end of the day, she was ready to die to make, quote unquote, Allah and, the comrades that she worked with happy. And that's really concerning because, again, we go back to the original discussion. How does that happen? Yeah. How do we get from, hey, I love America, to not only do I hate America, I want to destroy America? That's a scary pathway that I think this generation has to look at honestly and say, what is going on here? How is this happening?
Well, New York Governor Kathy Hochul, she put out the following statement. It reads, quote, "Earlier this year, amid a rise in political violence and threats against public officials, we took steps to strengthen security at the state capitol and across state government. While there is no immediate threat at this time, we will continue working closely with our law enforcement partners to protect New Yorkers and keep our communities safe." So, Chris, when she says there's no immediate threat at this time, I mean, how believable is that, considering what we've just seen unfold? Is there potentially other people involved in this plot? And also, we're going to be commemorating 9/11 and everything our nation experienced.
I think you're going to see a lot more information from this. The FBI is not just going to pull one person off and say it's a lone person that was involved in this. There were others that brought her to this position. And you're going to look into the groups that she was associated with, the people surrounding that. It's just more of this tripe from some of our elected representatives, like Governor Hochul, like Zoran Mandami, and even, unfortunately, some of our Republican elected representatives that don't seem to take this threat of this import of this belief, this Sharia Islam belief into the United States. that seeks to undermine our republic. We're not in a democracy, we're in a republic, and it's undermining our republic. And I wish more of our elected representatives took this seriously. It's clear that Kathy Hochul and Zohran Mamdani don't take it seriously because they're not calling it out for exactly what it is.
Yeah, Tim, you mentioned education, and I don't know that it's that they, that these universities are preaching, wow, this is a great, great religion because it's so peaceful, or what they're doing. But it does seem that they have tamped down on any criticism for fear of it being, too critical or too judgy, and by doing that, they validate that these ideas that are completely at odds with our American beliefs, and you end up with people like this. How do we find out if there were more people in her group, or if it was just her going down, the crazy path?
Well, Edie, that's such a good point, because the reality is, let me just clear the air, there are absolutely thousands of them in the U.S. This is not an isolated incident. The FBI did a great job. They identified her. To Chris's point, they're going to go much deeper. But this ideology, to your point, Hitler said if you tell a lie and say it again and again and again, eventually it becomes the truth. Convincing an American that ISIS is anything other than evil, violent people, that if you don't believe the way they want you to believe, they can kill you. If you're a woman, they can assault you. Look, we have to open our eyes. And unfortunately, to Chris's point, this false gospel is being preached on every American campus.
Tim,
we got to get ahead of this.
One more quick question. They love anniversaries. They love planning things around New Year's, whatever. How worried are you about 9/11 this year?
Well, you're always worried about symbolic dates. These people do. I mean, they go back historically and train in madrasas all the way back to the Crusades. So they're very big on history. The bottom line is, whenever an event like that is targeted, they try to plan it around dates. But with that said, if you've noticed in the past, sometimes they strike out of the blue. And the concern I have is, let's be clear. This was not a varsity player. It was a good catch. They stopped it. My concern are the organized elements that are far deeper, far more hard to detect.
Got it.
And we're going to have concerns about that because this crazy ideology is tolerated. And unfortunately, it's allowed to grow.
All right. Tim and Chris, thanks so much.
Thanks, Shaman.
Thanks for having me.